Okay, good afternoon once again. We're on to the second phase of our work on our NECO BECE revision for grade 9. This afternoon we will focus on looking at problems in this exam that pertains to what is called word problems. My take on this aspect will not be to finish out the solution to these problems. My take would be on how you generate equations. Essentially, what problems will require you to do what? Generate equations. So that's what my take on this course would be. So having said that, we'll go to our question paper right away. I will start with 2017. I'll use my format of 2017 paper 1. And then we'll look at question number 19. Question number 19. Now, because this is an OBJ exam, there are certain things that will not be required of you. There are certain things that will not be required of you. We do not expect you to show thorough workings. We expect you to be able to read the question or the questions, understand what's expected of you, and you solve out as quickly as possible. Remember, for NECO BECE, time is of the essence. If you can't be fast, then you're sure that you can't finish the exam. Alright, so let's go. The question says, Musa's age is 2/3 of Abu's age. So the technique I'm going to use is, as you read the question, to try to generate statements. Now, Musa, I'll call N, is 2/3 of Abu's age. Now, if the sum of their ages is what? 30. The sum of their ages, it means Musa plus Abu's age will give me what? 30. The question now says, how old is Abu? How old is Abu? Now remember that Musa is 2/3 of Abu. So wherever I have Musa, I'm going to put what? 2/3 of what? Abu. So that will be this. Plus A equal to what? 30. Now, the next thing you need to do, if you watch carefully, you have a fraction here. You have a fraction here. So what do you do? To take out this fraction, you multiply through by this LCD. And that will be multiplied through by 3. So if you multiply this by 3, the fraction is cleared and I have what? 2A. I multiply this by 3, I get what? 3A. I multiply this by 3, I get what? 90. And that will give me 5A equal to what? 90. I divide both sides by 5, and obviously my answer becomes what? 18. So in that setup, Abu's age becomes what? 18. When I come to certain problems, I will emphasize certain things, but for now, let me keep it this way. There are questions that will require us to apply our knowledge of change of summit of formula, and we have a responsibility to do that. So that's for question 19. We go to question 30 of that same year. 31. Go to question 31 of that same year. And what does this say? A man is what? 55 years old. The trick here, like I would say, is make statements as you read the question. Whether you are totally correct or not, that's not your focus. Make statements as you go. A man, I'll just say M, equal to 55. That's his age. 5 years ago, he was twice his son's age. It means that his age minus 5. 5 years ago means back. Remove 5 years from that, and that will give you twice his what? Son's age. What was his son's age 5 years ago? It will be the son's age minus 5. You're not talking of the son's age now, you're talking of the son's age 5 years ago. So with that, you're going to have that M minus 5 is equal to 2S minus what? 10. The next question is, how old is the son presently? Now let me give you one trick. This one, the finding N or S will tell you their age or ages presently. That's the trick. So you don't need to finish solving and begin to think of, no, these letters you have are their ages presently. So what do? We are concerned with the son's age, is that not? So remember that this will be n minus 5 equal to 2s minus 10. We are told the man's age is what? 55, is that not? So straight away, it's OBJ. You don't need to begin to, this will be what? 50. Now, equal to 2s minus 10. So what do you have? This will be 50 plus 10 equal to what? 2s. And then 2s will be equal to 60. I divide both sides by 2. And s will be equal to 30 years. So we expect that the son's age will be what? 30. Now, let me sound an observation here. Why I solve these questions, it's possible that maybe because we had to recopy, there may have been some error, but that's not what you should be focusing on. Whether the question copied from the book is correct or not, focus on the idea. Nobody will set the same questions for you. They will set the idea. So focus on the idea. Don't be distracted by any, but that's not what I have in my textbook. That's not your business. Focus on the idea and see how the idea works. So you discover that the focus is on the son's age, and if you've done that correctly, that is what we expect the age of the son to be. All right. Having done that, we will now go to 2018. 2018. So I'll use my coding now. 2018. P1, meaning paper 1. Question 18. So I'll use Q18. I'm solving these ones because we're just getting started. My target is to try to give you generate the equations. If I generate the equations, I expect you should be able to finish them out. Alright. So the next question talks about the age. Professor was what? 62 years old. Was 62 years old 8 years ago. Or 18, is that 8 years or 18 years ago? 18 years ago. What will be his age in 6 years' time? Now, please, this is an IQ question. Look at it. He was 62 years. 18 years ago. Now, he will be what? 62 plus 18. Ago always suggests back. 62 years, 18 years ago. So what's his age now? He will be what? 80 years. Now the question says, what will be his age in 6 years' time? 6 years' time is measured with respect to the present. Take note of that. 6 years they are talking about will be measured with respect to the present. So if you don't get the present, you can't do anything. So present in 6 years' time, it will be what? 80 plus 6, and that will be 86 years. So 86 years will now be what he would be in 6 years' time. And that clears that problem. Right? So let's see if we can do, alright, so that clears that one. And let's see how we can go about solving more. Okay, so let's go to question 2018, paper 1, question 19. This is also what problem. It says, a man spent half of his salary on shoes. You need to be careful here, because sometimes they set the things and they try to throw your balance. He spends half of his salary on shoe. Take note of something. This is what problems involving fractions. So essentially, his salary in fractions is 1. That's his full salary. His full salary will be what? 1. He said that he spends half of his salary on shoes, so that will be half, or 1/5, sorry about that, 1/5 on shoes, and 2/10 on what? School fees. So it means that fraction spent, whether on shoes or whether on school fees, it's what? Spent 1/5 plus 2/3. We take LCD. LCD of 3 and 5 is of what? 15. That will be 3, 5 times 2, that will be 10, and that will be 30/15. Is that clear? So fraction left will now be 1 minus 30/15. That will be the fraction left. 1 minus 13/15. And that will simply be taking LCD of 15. Remember that every whole number is over 1. So 15 divided by 15, 15 divided by 1 will be 15 times 1, 15, minus 13. That will be 2/15. So what is left will be what? 2/15. That will be 2/15. Alright. The other question you have there is not under what problem. That question is under proportion. So I wouldn't take it under this category. Alright, so 2018 paper 2, question 7. Question 7. Just a quick reminder here that what we are doing is more or less like a compilation done by the students. I gave it out to students to do compilation of questions, so that what I need to do is just to do a video showing us how we would handle them. Alright, so question 7 says, if 45 is added to a certain number, anytime you see a certain number or an unknown, call that number X. Anytime you see a certain number or an unknown, call that number X. So they said a certain number, 45, is added to a certain number, and the result is divided by 9. The quotient is 8. That word quotient means the answer. I remember when I was taking this, I don't know if it was in your class, I took you back to your primary school. The concept of quotient and what? Remainder. So anytime you hear the word quotient, the quotient is a whole number you get after dividing two numbers. Please, let's not forget that. So this is what they want you to do. This plus x over 9 equal to 8. So from here, you're going to have that 45 plus x will be equal to what? 9 times 8, and that will be what? 72. So x will be equal to 72 minus 45. And if you do that correctly, your answer should be 20 what? 27. So that settles that problem. So that's for paper 2 of question number 7. Alright, so the number we're looking for is what? 27. Now let's look at question 16 of that same year, 2018, paper 2, question 16. It says, Minyi thinks of a number and subtracts 2 from it. That number is thinking of, we call it what? X. And subtract. To subtract is to remove. And removes what? 2 from it. He divides 32 by the result. He divides what? 32 by the result. Now here you have to be careful. It means that what he did was to say he divides 32 by the result. It means that 32 over x minus 2. That's what you need to be careful about. The statement there says he divides 32 by the result. Remember that when you're writing fractions, writing in division, what you state after when you use by is what is written under. Divided by. I seen it divided by. So that thing has to be under. And he got what? 4. Now, the question says, what number is it thinking of? Now, the first thing some of you will do, you begin to think of is, some of us who believe in this ministry of cross multiplication. But that is wrong. Remember, I said always look for the factor first. 4 can go here 1, 4 can go here 1, 8. So you have 8 over x minus 2 being equal to 1. So what does that mean? Remember that we said that if if we have a fraction and it's equal to 1, we can safely say that this is equal to what? 8. I think of a number, because I'm also trying to help you work with OBJ. I think of a number, I remove 2 from it and I'm getting 8. That number obviously will be what? 8 plus 2, and that is what? 10. Because 10 minus 2 will give me what? 8. And that's it. Now that's why OBJ is good. In some of your OBJ, you don't need to go detailed like this. You don't need to solve everything detailed like this. No. You think. Some of these questions, you can actually think them up in your mind and get the answers very, very quickly. Alright? So that's for question 16. 2018 question 16. Let's look at question 19. P2 2018 P2 question 19. What does question 19 say? 3 over 9 of the spectator in a football match are what? Males. 4 over 9 of a spectator in a football match are what? Males. If 200 of them are females, how many spectators are there in the competition? 4 over 9 of a spectator are males. So if 4 over 9, let's switch. If 4 over 9 will give me males, it would imply that 5 over 9 will be females. How did I get that? 1 minus 4 over 9. So that will give me 5 over 9. Now, if the number of females are given to be what? 200. How many spectators are there in the competition? Very simple. The number of spectators will simply be the inverse of this, 9 over 5 times what? 200 over 1. And that will be what? 360. Now somebody is asking, how are we getting that kind of figure? If you have 4 over 9 as males, it means 5 over 9 will be that of females. I hope nobody has an issue with that. Beautiful. Now, number of spectators is very simple. If I have the total portion to be 9, the total portion of my work to be 9, and I'm told that out of that 9, 5 of them accounts for what? 200. How many will 9 account for? Direct proportion. If 5 accounts for 200, how many will 9 account for? That's quite simple. It means that if I divide this by 5, 1 will account for 40. So what will 9 account for? It's 9 times what? 40, and that will be what? 360. This is a word problem testing your knowledge of what? Proportions. So proportion is what is tested in this question. Alright. So let's look at question 30 of that same year, 2018. Paper, that should be paper 2, question 30. Question 30. Now, it says if 22 is added to a number. Now, here it is, they didn't say a certain number. They say added to what? A number. So we use what? X. So it will be X plus 22. And then the sum is divided by 2. The result is 6 times the number. Find the number. It's quite simple. If this is dividing this, it will multiply this. So I have x plus 22 equal to 12x. How did I get this? If this is dividing this by virtue of equation behavior will definitely multiply this. So I would have that 12x is equal to x plus what? 22. This will be 12x minus x equal to 22. 11x will be equal to 22 and x will be equal to 22 divided by 11, and that is what? 2. So x will obviously be 2. Alright. Question 39 of that same year. It says there are two numbers, so I'll call them x and y. That's the first thing you need to do. Watch what I'm doing. This is usually the best way to answer the questions. As you read, write out your assumptions. Write out. There are two numbers. Let the numbers be x and y. Because it's an OBJ, I don't overly need to show my workings. X and y. Beautiful. Now the next one says, the sum of 4 times the first number. 4 times the first number and 3 times the second number. So this is the first number, this will be the second number. Is equal to, is that 24 or 2? 24. Now, the difference between 2 times the first number. So difference means you are going to subtract 2 times the first number and 3 times the second number is what? 12. Find the two numbers. This is a very simple question if you know what to do. Remember that if you look at this, the coefficient of y here and the coefficient of y here are the same, but their signs are different. So you can do what? Eliminate. So what do? You eliminate different signs by adding. You eliminate same signs by what? Subtracting. So I'm going to do what? Add. 4x plus 2x will give me what? 6x. I don't need to bother about this because I have eliminated them. And this will give me what? 24 plus 12 will be what? 36. Now this is done with the assumption that you are not struggling with your basic arithmetic. You are not struggling with your what? Basic arithmetic. So from here, I'll divide both sides by 6. And I have that x will be equal to 6. Alright. Now, if I've gotten x equal to 6, I will now put x equal to 6 in any one. I see some people talk about putting the equation. I don't do that anymore. It's old school, it's archaic. I tell my examiner where I'm putting it in. So I will put this in what? Let's say I want to use the first one. 4x plus 3y equal to 24. So what is x? X is what? 6. So this will be 4 times 6. Usually we advise you to case it in a bracket. Plus 3y equal to what? 24. So what do I get from here? 24 plus 3y equal to 24. How can I write with that? Alright. So what do you notice? This is where there is a difference in your solution process. Don't just get into this thing of wanting to work. If you're observant, 24 means that 3y must be equal to 0. How many persons have seen that? If I have 24 here and I have 24 here, by virtue of my concept of antonyms, if I subtract 24 from both sides, balancing method, I'm going to get 0. Because it's OBJ, you need to see it. So you don't end up what? Wasting time. And from here, y will simply be equal to 0. Because 0 divided by any number will give us what? 0. So with that said, we can conclude that what? X is equal to 6 and y is equal to what? 0. And that's a solution to that problem. And that is done. Okay, so we go to question 42. If the same number is added to both the numerator and the denominator, that number we are talking about must be a fraction, or rather, what we are dealing with is a fraction, so it will be something over something. So x is added to 6 and x is added to 9. The result is 2 over 5. If the same number is added to both the numerator and the denominator of a fraction, 6 over 9, the result is what? 2 over 5. What is that number? This is quite simple. If this is dividing this, it will multiply this. If this is dividing this, it will multiply this. So the next thing you want to do is to open up the bracket. Here you have to, something wrong here. This should be 2. This should be 5. Yes, I noticed that. Because if it were 2 over 2, I would have cancelled out from this point. So this will be 5x plus 30 equal to 2x plus what? 18. So what do we do next? This will be 5x. This man crosses from this village by our concept of antonym. And this will be 2x equal to, this is the man occupying this territory, 18. And we have yet another person who needs to come over. By our concept of antonym, it becomes negative. So this will be what? 3x equal to what? Negative 12. So 3x is equal to negative 12 would imply that x is equal to negative 12 over 3. So x will obviously be equal to negative 4. So the number I need to add to both sides will obviously be what? Negative 4. Not 4. Negative 4. Alright.